Welcome back to the Off-Farm Income Podcast, everybody. Thank you for joining us here on our YouTube channel for episode number 755. Well, today we get to talk with the state star in agribusiness coming out of the state of Pennsylvania, Mr. Dakota Grumbine, who owns Grumbine's Berkshires. And he's going to be talking to us all about the development of his Berkshire pig business that he started in the 4-H and has taken all the way through the FFA and everything he's grown it up to be. Very cool story. Really excited to bring this to you. Let's get it started right now. Joining me today is Dakota Grumbine, and he is coming to us from the road while he's taking a load of pigs to the butcher, but he's currently serving as the vice president for his chapter at Annville-Cleona High School in Annville, Pennsylvania, and he is a state star winner in agribusiness. So, Dakota, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, you bet. Congratulations on winning State Star. That is fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that was something that was quite unexpected, but I guess over the years it just accumulated enough of a business profile to be able to accomplish something like that.
Well, that's great. It's a heck of an accomplishment, and I'm really proud of you for doing that. When did that happen for you? Was that just here recently?
Yes, very recently, actually. It was during our state fair, what we call our state fair, which happens the first week of January. And in conjunction with that, we have our FFA Midwinter Convention, and it is a statewide convention. And that is where the Keystone Degrees are awarded, which is our state degree, being Pennsylvania, the Keystone State. We call them the Keystone Degree. Those are awarded, and the other main thing that happens there is the young members are awarded that have applied and won the scholarship are awarded their first FFA jacket, sponsored by the Pennsylvania FFA alumni, I believe. And so that's the two main things that happen there. And then of the Keystone recipients, they pick a star, and I had to go through a series of interviews to compete at the region level and then the state level, which happened there just in January. So
okay, very cool. Well, it's really a great accomplishment, and I've been looking through your website for grumbinesberkshires.com, and you've got a great site. I know you said you want to update that when we were off the air, but you've got a great site, and obviously you've got a good business going. I'm excited to talk about that. I'd like to start off by just asking you a few questions about you so our audience can get to know you a little bit. Would that be okay?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Well, how old are you, Dakota?
I am 17 years old.
Okay. And this is your senior year, so your class schedule is a little bit flexed right now, is that right?
Yes. Yeah, so it is my senior year, and I'm fortunate to be in a school district where the administrators and guidance counselors, as well as my ag teacher, are very understanding and willing to cater to what a student would like to do and help them basically get on with a real life situation rather than sitting in a classroom. So that has allowed me to go to school until about 10 o'clock. I take classes in the morning, and then I come home, and my responsibilities then turn to operating the hog business as well as helping to operate the family crop farm.
Well, I was looking at the pictures on your website, and obviously I always ask everybody if they live on a farm or live in town or something in between, but you obviously live on a farm. So aside from the hogs, what crops are you growing there?
Yeah, so we do row crops, corn, soybeans, and wheat, and that's the three main things that we do. We do grow a couple cover crops, but nothing. Those are the main cash crops that we grow, and we get across about 700 acres.
Okay.
So for this area, that's a pretty decent sized farm, because our fields are very small in comparison to the Midwest, and as you get out into the plains where whole fields can be 700 acres.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, that's really interesting. Now, Pennsylvania has got some deep, deep roots in America. How long has your family been farming this piece of ground?
We've been farming generationally. I'm the 7th generation to be farming. So as far as the number of years, I cannot give you that exactly. But I do know I'm the 7th generation to be farming. I think I'm about the 4th generation on the specific farm that we live on and farm on.
Oh, very cool. Wow, lots of history there. That's really, really interesting. And so you've got the row crops and you've got the hogs. Have hogs traditionally been part of what you do there, or is that something that you started?
No, that's actually definitely something that was inspired by 4-H. I started showing, and then I decided about a year in, when I was 9, I decided I wanted to start. I got a bred gilt, and I started raising hogs.
Okay.
And no, that was not something traditionally done on the farm that we are on. We live on the farm that my mom grew up on, which was a dairy farm.
Okay.
The cows have since passed along. Now I will say on my dad's side, my grandpa definitely was heavily involved in the livestock industry and raised Berkshire hogs a number of years ago.
Okay.
But those hogs have been gone for 30 years.
Okay.
So.
All right. Now, how long have you been part of the FFA?
I've been part of the FFA since 8th grade. Our school is a little bit unique, being that we are fairly small sized, and we do have an option for 8th graders who want to be able to join the FFA. Usually, the FFA program traditionally starts in 9th grade. Ours is a little different, so this is my 5th year in the FFA.
Okay, very good. Why'd you join? Why'd you want to be part of the organization?
I guess it was something that I guess I felt a little bit at home. As far as other subjects in school, I fit in well. I do well in school, but when I step into the ag classroom, I can more confidently say I know a little bit more my way around things. I know more what I'm talking about. And there is a deep history, a family history. My grandpa was a state officer, and a few other members of my family. My mom, everybody was in FFA. So I knew what it was all about. I heard the stories about, taking trips to national convention and getting to meet all these people. And so I wanted that same opportunity for myself, to be able to get to see a little bit of the country and meet new people, and also the leadership aspect of it. It's something that was intriguing to me, because as far as going to ag class to learn about ag, I'm one of the few lucky ones that gets to do that all day, every day.
Sure.
So I was more interested in the leadership aspects and getting to travel the countryside, talking to people and making connections and networking with others. So.
Yeah, very cool. And you talked about the leadership side of things. Obviously, you decided to become an officer. How did you make that decision?
I guess it was just something that I came into the program, and it was something that I was very interested in from the get-go. Just seeing as I looked up to the older senior officers, how they were able to conduct business and run the chapter, and I guess I just thought that would be something being neat that I would be able to do, and be able to continue on how they were leading us. I wanted to be able to continue on and provide that opportunity for other younger members.
Okay. Well, let's take a second. Let's acknowledge your FFA advisors there. How many do you have, and who are those folks for you?
We just have one, and his name is Mr. Gettle. He is, I believe he's teaching at Annville for about 11 years,
Mm-hmm.
and he, like I said, we just have one. He is our only ag teacher and FFA advisor at our school, so he has a lot on his plate, and we have about a chapter of about 100 to 120 members. It varies year to year, obviously, but that's quite a bit to keep track of as far as one person doing all that with the FFA, going on all the FFA trips, dealing with the competition events, and also teaching basically 7 periods of ag throughout the day, all day, every day. So that's something that keeps him more than busy, I would say. So he's definitely been someone who pushed me to do certain things that have helped me to accomplish, these a couple awards and achievements, and he's the reason I'm talking to you today as well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that is great. Well, thank you very much for acknowledging him. I'm going to take a moment here, Dakota, and just acknowledge a couple of my great sponsors. Everybody, I want to start off by talking about Lacrosse Footwear. You can find them at lacrossefootwear.com. Speaking of FFA and what Dakota is doing, Lacrosse Footwear has been a proud supporter of the FFA for years now by annually sponsoring 15 scholarships along with 100 jackets as part of the Give the Gift of Blue program. And they make a fine work boot. I have gone through trying to find the right ones for us, and that is what we use on our farm, and we've been using them here for much longer than Lacrosse has been a sponsor. So thrilled to have them on. We hope you will check them out at lacrossefootwear.com and, of course, powderriver.com, everybody. For your large livestock handling needs, you need squeeze chutes, panels, sweep tubs, calf tables, whatever it is you need, Powder River has it for you. They developed out here in the West where I'm from with some crazy cattle, and they can certainly handle the cattle on your farm as well. Check them out at powderriver.com. Okay, well, Dakota, I'm excited to talk about your SAE. I'm excited to talk about your business. Tell us about Grumbine's Berkshires.
So in here in Pennsylvania, I am very lucky and fortunate to be close to just about everything. Pittsburgh is within 4 hours of me, Philly about 2.5 hours, New York City about 2.5 hours, anywhere in Jersey, anywhere you can think of, Baltimore, D.C. I'm fortunate to be very close to all of those things.
Okay.
So it allowed me to tap into somewhat of a niche market for high-end pork, and that's why I do raise purebred Berkshires.
Okay.
So with all those things in mind, I was able to start a business around commanding a premium for a higher quality product. And I focus on meat quality in every aspect of my business. It's something that over the years has expanded after getting a couple of my main customers underway with some high-end butcher shops and restaurants that I'm able to cater to and are willing to pay a premium for a higher quality product. I am certified 100% pure Berkshire, something that I achieved recently. That's through the American Berkshire Association. All my hogs are registered through them, and they work very closely with their producers to be able to just market and get the factual information out there to customers and consumers about how Berkshire pork is a little different. So I guess the business started, as I said, with one bred gilt, and it's just taken off from there. Every year it seems that we're modifying some sort of the barn or adding another barn to be able to house all these animals.
Yeah.
And everything is bedded basically in box stalls or or outside. Majority of them are out on pasture. Obviously, with the cold months and the swinging temperatures of Pennsylvania, sometimes we have to bring them into the box stalls on the straw, which that makes quite a bit of labor.
Yeah.
And having to feed and bed and clean out a little differently. So that's some of the reason too for a higher premium for the product, and not relying so much on the big market, the board of trade or anything for my prices.
Mm-hmm.
That's what has allowed me to advance in my business and be able to grow.
Very cool. Well, how many sows are you farrowing out a year now?
Right now I'm running about 25 sows. I keep about 4 to 5 boars on the farm at all times.
Mm-hmm.
And I usually I don't push them too hard as far as production. I shoot for about 2 litters a year, though.
Okay.
That's pretty manageable because that gives them some time off in between, with the way a pig's gestation cycle is, and plenty of time to get the pigs weaned and give the moms a little time off before they're bred again. So yeah, about 25 sows, which gives me about 50 litters a year. So that's plenty of pigs to take care of.
And are the boars doing all the breeding for you, or are you doing some AI work as well?
Yeah, both. Mostly nowadays, just because the numbers have grown, and I'm only one person. My family does help me
Mm-hmm.
a lot, but I am obviously still balancing school and this and everything else. So I do a lot natural now. But I also AI. I collect my boars. I extend the semen. I do sell a little bit, but here and there, not too much. I wouldn't say that that's a major income from my business at all.
Mm-hmm.
And every now and then, I will work with another local Berkshire breeder and buy some semen to be able to AI some different genetics if I'm looking for some hogs for 4-H for show or whatever it may be. At that point, I would use AI, and I do collect. Like I said, most of my boars are trained to collect, and I do that as well. But mostly natural.
Okay.
I like to have the natural genetics. It's a lot easier that way. It's
Mm-hmm.
a lot more manageable that way.
And then I'm looking at the photograph on your website, the photograph that's labeled range raised pork, and so I see 4 pens. It looks like the pigs have a lot of room, and they've all got huts to go into. How many sows will you keep in each one of those pens?
I usually keep about 4 sows.
Okay.
Or four pigs in general, I should say. If there's a boar in there, I like to only have 3 sows with them.
Okay.
Because 4 is a good number. Those huts are about 11 to 12 feet long, and I think 7 or 8 feet wide.
Mm-hmm.
So about 8 pigs could fit in there comfortably. But I like to give them a little more space, and as well as I do like to keep about 4 in there in the winter, specifically so that they have some more body heat. Now the huts are bedded heavily with straw,
Mm-hmm.
but the wind gets in them, and I have flaps that come down. The picture on my website, you can't necessarily see that.
Sure.
But yeah, so about 4 to 5. Like I said, 8 will fit in still comfortably, but I usually don't fill them up that full.
Okay. Well, let's talk about your business for a second. So you mentioned that you're selling pork to high-end restaurants and things like that. How did you go about developing those relationships?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. My dad and I actually just by chance saw a new restaurant, butcher shop opening in nearby Lidditz.
Mm-hmm.
And we decided one night to go down and have dinner and check it out, just the 2 of us, and ended up talking with the owner, and turns out he was looking for a Berkshire producer at the time, and he really I guess was the foundation for everything. Because anywhere else that my pork goes, as far as other restaurants or things, have been a connection through him, through the owner of that original butcher shop. So, and I still work very closely with him, and he's still my main customer. But something that basically took off from one handshake and asking the waitress if the owner was nearby, and he happened to be standing right there. So, you know, I don't know if that was by luck or what, but one connection, one handshake, pretty much set up a lifelong, or so far a lifelong, you know, connection between us. And a cooperation that, and we've been able to find a lot of new markets through that butcher shop and that connection that was able to be made. Other than that, obviously my website's huge. Most of the folks breeding hogs, Berkshire hogs, are about 3 times my age. So they don't exactly cater to someone who's on the internet. They're not on the internet, so they're not catering to the people on the internet. So I'm in a little bit of a different situation, and I'm lucky enough to be able to be pretty tech savvy, and I should say, and created my own website. I built it, and like we mentioned, I would like to make some changes to it, make it a little more interactive. But something that certainly has also, other than that one handshake and greeting, that has certainly played a large role in the marketing of my pork. Just with it being so accessible to mainstream media, and how people find things today. They Google pork near me, and I pop up.
That is good.
So that would be the other main thing.
That is fantastic. Well, man, this is great. So you're doing this now, and are you expanding still, or are you at numbers where you're kind of maxed out, or where are you at in terms of the growth of your business?
Yeah, right now I'm actually, I would say, expanding to pretty much being towards that full line. You know, it's something that until I graduate and move on and determine what I want to do for the rest of my life, it's something that I need to keep to a minimum, so that I can explore everything else that life has to offer. But I am pretty much on the full line with 25 sows, as well as the numbers that I fatten out then. Mainly because if I want to grow my business, I need to make a large investment on more pasture lots and maybe a different style barn with some more that the pigs would be able to come in and out. But rather than using huts and it be spread out all over the farm, you know, space is limited. It's not unlimited, unfortunately. So I would need to make a large investment on some different facilities just to be able to manage them more efficiently and pretty much just have the space. Like I said, right now I'm pretty maxed out with what I'm doing. So, but I will say that as far as a business, I am expanding. I'm always looking for new markets, because every day you lose a market, you gain a market. So, you know, just local customers are on the rise. People looking for a little bit different quality pork. So it's definitely, I would say, expanding to staying still. You know, I'm definitely not decreasing in size at all.
Sure. Well, so here you are. You're going to graduate in just a few months, Dakota. What is next for you after high school?
Yeah, so I am most likely looking at actually going out on a harvest crew over summer. It's something that I've always wanted to do. Never knew if it was actually going to become a reality. And I guess the reason being for that would just be the experience that gives me.
Sure.
something that not for the money, not to get away from home. I don't really want to leave the business aspect, but my mom has been gracious enough to say, hey, if this is what you want to do for 3 months, I think I can handle the hogs while you're gone. So I've been blessed to have a very supportive mom and dad. And obviously I started this journey long before I could drive. So up until about a year and a half ago, they were toting me everywhere.
Yeah.
And I was just riding along. But I guess as my plans, like I said, I would like to go on a harvest crew and harvesting wheat, custom harvest crew. And then when I come back home, I guess it'll be decision time, put it that way,
okay.
As far as if we're going to expand the hog business. Or I have some other avenues I could easily go. And with going on the harvest crew, I definitely enjoy the crops and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an opportunity there to be able to start taking over the family crop farm as well.
Very cool. Well, that is great. I'm excited for you, and you're obviously unbelievably motivated, and I can tell just by talking to you, you've done a ton of research. You've learned a lot about not just pigs, but marketing and business and everything in between.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Dakota, let's do this. I want to ask your advice. Before we let you go, I want to ask your advice for other students out there. If there was a student out there who's just getting started in the FFA and they would love to develop a business kind of the way that you've done it, where they're producing their own animals, they're selling their own meat, all that type of stuff, but they're thinking it's too big of a bite of the apple, what would you say to them?
Hey, I mean, I would say to anybody that has that vision, first of all, choose something unique. And once you have that chosen, never think that something's too big for you. I mean, there's nothing that you can't accomplish if you try hard enough. I guess I will just share a little bit. I struggled greatly in the first couple of years of breeding hogs. I think my first 10 sows, I never rebred. The boars I was using didn't work like they should have.
Mm-hmm.
And that's enough to really, really frustrate you.
Yeah.
When genetics don't work like they should, and
mm-hmm.
You paid good money for something, a hog or a trailer of sows or something, or gilts or whatever it may be, and only a quarter of them end up actually being good maternally wise, and you have to ship the rest to market. Well, you lost a good amount of money there.
Yeah.
So I would say, persevere, and like I said, never think anything is out of reach, is too big. But I guess the main advice would be is reach out to people around you. Whether it be your FFA advisor, your parents, friends. 4-H is awesome too. 4-H and FFA kind of go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
And as I shared, 4-H was the reason I got started in what I'm doing. So reach out to those people if you need help. Most of those people probably aren't going to give you much financial help, but they're certainly going to give you advice that is probably going to be very helpful, because
mm-hmm.
reality is if they're older than you, they have a lot more experience.
Right.
So, and I would take that advice to heart. And just, like I said, there's never anything that's too big as long as you work at it.
Yeah.
So.
Good advice, Dakota. Well, hey, I'm really proud of you, proud of your business. It looks fantastic. I know you've got a great future in front of you. Thank you for coming on and sharing this with us today.
Yes, thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity. It's something that I don't get too often, but I am on the phone a lot, so it's something that I enjoy, being able to talk to other people about the business, and hopefully inspire some people while doing it. So I thank you for having me, and hopefully this inspires some folks or young and aspiring people to start their own business and be able to grow and expand and have an experience that will last a lifetime.
Well, thank you for being here, everybody. It is always a pleasure to bring you this great content, these great interviews with these FFA students, and as always, enjoy your journey to the ultimate lifestyle business, agriculture.